Maintenance folding frame drone. So here we have the Mavic. Okay, so if you're a PFCR holder, you should be doing maintenance, and every now and then you're going to check over your drone. Okay, so what we're going to be checking for, okay, is the locking mechanism. Okay, so making sure that the wires aren't looking frayed in the corners here. Okay, the arm is staying where it should be. Okay, that's that one. I'm just going to make sure carefully, I don't get anything caught, that the other one folds up and locks. Yes. And will unfold. First things first, is everything locking as it should do? Okay, is there anything not quite right? That's what we're just checking for. Making sure any wiring you can see, there's no sign of fraying anywhere in any of the joints. The back ones, it's hard to tell. Everything looks to be right. There's no sign of stress cracks. Okay, so we're checking for stress cracks as we check over the airframe. Okay, so each arm, we're just checking, no stress marks, no fractures. There was, with the old Phantom, I think 2s, maybe the 3s, but when I do my Phantom 4, I'll talk about the stress on those ones. But on this aircraft, everything's looking good, nothing wrong with the underside, really happy, camera secure. Okay, now, there have been cases where drones will fall out of the sky, and every now and then what you need to do is you need to just take off the prop, okay, and you just want to be checking your propellers, okay. The leading edge is the important edge, okay. Any chips in the leading edge, bin it. Don't even try and fix it, okay. Leading edge, any damage at all, any kind of stress cracks, it's gone, okay. The trailing edge, while it is important, it's not quite as critical, okay. And someone somewhere is going to type, yes it is, and I'm going to go, no, if there was a little nick just here, I wouldn't, if it's not creeping, if the crack's not creeping, I wouldn't stress too much. But if it is damaged, you should just throw it away, okay, get a new one. Check the plastic bits here that lock, so it pushes down and twists, okay. And what you're just checking for, that there's no white stress marks on any of these, okay, so it looks good. Feel nice and tight. Check the motor, should freely turn. Oiling motors, you don't have to do that, okay, these are self-sealed motors, bearing, you cannot get into oil them, so don't worry about that. However, if in the instructions it does tell you to oil them, feel free to. Service hour is probably 50 hours on the Mavic Pro. I can't remember, you'll have to read the manual. Yes, that means you have to do something. Yes, you have to get a manual out and read it on the service period. Okay, but we're happy with the locking ones on that one, so we put it back on. Gently push, twist, it's locked. Okay, you're going to do this for all of them. Okay. We're checking all the propellers, making sure they're all good. You will do this before pre-flight anyway, with a visual once over. Now, with a service maintenance, we're going to give it a bit more of a check. Okay, no stress marks, propellers are nice, the locking mechanism's nice, everything's good, the motor's good. Okay, we'll go around the aircraft and just get that's nice and secure, that one. Might as well do all of them while we're at it, aren't we? Okay. Ooh. Come on, give. That's nice and tight and secure. Again, just checking that the plastic notches, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, those little notches, making sure there's no kind of white stress marks appearing in the plastic. Propellers looking good. Nice and smooth motors, no sign of any kind of grit in there or anything. That's that one. Okay. And then we've got this one as well. Again, just checking, making sure nothing's giving us a problem. Propellers are nice. Okay, these ones are quite clean actually. This one's not been out killing bugs very much. Make sure it's locked in. Just double check that you've put them all back correctly and they're all nice and secure. Check the battery compartment for locking. Make sure it all locks nicely so everything's nice. There's no damage, no scratches, no muck, no sign of any stress on the frame there at all. The battery's looking good. Okay. And it has the reassuring click. So that's a folding frame check over. So it's only a 5-minute check. Okay, you can, if you wish, get a little Allen driver and just check all the screws are nice and tight. But if you shake the aircraft a little bit, nothing's rattling. It's always a good sign. We don't like a rattle. If you got a rattle, you're going, oh, it's loose in there. Nothing wrong with that at all. So that's how you check over a folding frame for your maintenance. You'll then go to your logbook for your aircraft, go to the maintenance page, you'll go the 2nd of December 2020, airframe was checked over, serviced, all good to go. Okay? And that's your service maintenance on that aircraft. Okay? Doesn't need much more than that really, to be honest. Like I say, don't oil the motors unless it tells you to in a manual. They are typically bearing sealed, so putting oil means you're just going to make sure that all the dust and crap in the air ends up gunking up your motor anyway. Always make sure they spin nicely and beautiful. No signs of anything in there at all, so that's really good. So that's a folding frame maintenance check over. Okay? Right, let's do another one. So, maintenance, it's one of those things. This is a non-folding airframe, so this is your Phantoms. With your Phantoms, it's a very basic maintenance check. Okay, so just going to check the motors, all turn freely. Okay, simple enough, isn't it? Right, we're then just going to check the airframe for any kind of damage. We're just checking to see if there's any cracks at all in the arm, making sure everything's nice, it's not having any rough landings. Okay, just checking. Operator ID still stuck on it underneath here, so mine is. Okay, we're checking it out, making sure all the arms, each one's good, no stress cracks, everything's looking good. Okay, no, looking really good. Making sure the battery is still clipped in and out and it's nice and secure, can't get out. Okay, this battery has been used, it's looking good. Okay, check the undercarriage, the legs are good. Okay, make sure the camera is still connected. Okay, everything's good. It's a little bit dirty because it has killed. Okay, yes, that's right, my drone has killed flies. So I'm going to apologise now for all the animal rights activists, you know, and all those that love insects and horseflies that have savaged me through the summer. This did kill a few, I do apologise. So that's why we've got bits of fly everywhere. If you're going to clean your drone, give it a wipe down with a bit of damp cloth, making sure you don't go near anything that can allow access to certain areas. Okay, only on the outside, very carefully, give it a clean. Check where the props are going to connect, make sure everything's looking good and nice. Okay, make sure your props, make sure they're nice and smooth and clean. Okay, when you push down and lock, part of your pre-flight, pushing down and checking, make sure everything's still working alright. Okay, just checking the springs. Okay, they're doing the job right, the springs are still there, look good, no issues. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the plastic there at all. This aircraft has actually done about 90 hours now, so it's done its time, but there's no need. The motors are smooth as. I'd expect the motors on this to go for at least 250, maybe 500 hours, because I don't stress it. Okay, if you stress your aircraft, you put everything under more stress, then you're going to have more issues with them. However, being a commercial drone operator, I am very much, it will only fly if it meets these weather conditions. It will not go up if it's too windy, I just won't do it. So yeah, there we go, looking good. Okay. Very, very easy to do, to check on the Phantom 4s, like I say. And the Phantom 3s though, Phantom 3s and 2s are a bit more susceptible to stress cracks here, so just check that carefully. Okay, it'll get logged in the logbook, the aircraft's been checked. Okay, right, that's the Phantom 4 Pro done. Now, you wasn't expecting to see one of these, were you? Now, so on Gumtree, maybe maybe a few months ago now, I saw this Raptor 60 come up for sale. This is a Raptor 60. It's because of the engine size and because it's turning 600mm blades. That's why it's a Raptor 60. This to do with its size. So the engine is an OS engine in here. Okay, it's been bought second hand. Now, why is it here when we're talking about drones and maintenance? Well, the thing is, right, it's like, you may as well understand a bit on maintenance. A lot of people, some people, drones, maintenance, this and the other, and the CA bangs on about it. Well, here we go. This is a bit more complicated. Okay, this is something that's going to need a few hours, okay, with me. Okay, I will need a few hours with this because it's not going to be a 5-minute check over. Okay, it's been bought second hand. Okay, so I've got to do a few checks. Okay, now the first one is the main blades. Okay, straight away when I picked it up and I saw it, there's a problem. And if you look, be careful, these will decapitate. And I don't know if you can see it on this blade here, start to delaminate. Okay, I have got a set of carbon blades for this, and I don't like wooden blades at the best of times, to be honest. So it's going to get a new set of blades, but that there, delamination on the end there, that is no good. Okay, so this set of blades, these wooden ones, they're already dead, that's it. Okay, the drive chain system, everything seems to be good. I can see the gears working, you see the tails working back here, you can just hold it, feel for slop. Okay, it's all geared, so the gearing, all the gears, check the gears look good, all nice. Okay, I'm actually going to have to drop the engine out of this. It's a pain in, I say it's a pain in the ass, it's not that bad. I need to replumb all the fuel tank and everything here, because I'll just spin her around, he says, like that. There we go. So it's got a header tank. Now the main tank is here, okay, and then we have a header tank, and then we have it go to the engine. The reason why you have a header tank is to catch all the air bubbles, because if air gets to the engine it cuts out. So you have a little header tank that will catch the air. Okay, so I'm going to have to drop the engine, replumb the header tank, and replumb the main tank. Check the engine bearings, probably change the glow plug. I'm going to put what's called a remote glow, if it hasn't got one. Oh, it has got one. It's got one here, look. Somewhere there's a remote glow. Oh, it's there. So a remote glow, what you do is you put your glow stick on here, okay, and it goes down to the engine under here. You can see the wiring here on the frame has been catching, it's been rubbing. Don't know if you can see that, there you go. That I need fixing so it doesn't short on the main frame. It's something to always watch out for with model helicopters. Wherever there's a bit of metal or carbon, if you build drones, it's something you need to check for is all the wiring. Make sure the wires, so I'll check all the servo wires. There's an old 35 megahertz receiver in here. Test 35 meg because it's got a hell of an antenna. I don't know what make it is, he says, looking. I don't know, I didn't really bother checking. Oh, it's JR. I've got a JR receiver, so I can't use it anyway. So that'll all come out. It'll get a 2.4 Futaba in it. You know, check the servos are working nicely. Look at that nice free movement. I'll have to connect it to my computer transmitter later, to my Futaba 12FG later. Needs a bit of a dust. But these are the things you've got to go through, checking all your linkages. Anything that's a control linkage at all, okay, it's going to have to be checked. I'm going to have to go around with an Allen driver and check every bolt, okay? And this is just basic 101 maintenance. Yes, it's a model helicopter. Yes, I could put a flight controller in it and it becomes a drone. Maintenance is maintenance. You look after your kit, okay, and it will look after you, okay? It is kind of that simple. If you just throw this in the corner, it'll never fly right and it won't be right. However, a little bit of time, a little bit of TLC, you know, this was £100. To build this back in the day, you're looking at about £1,000 here, you know, and it'll fly a treat because it's a big helicopter. And the big misconception is, of course, with helicopters, if you fly a small one, it's easy because people aren't scared of them because when they crash, they're quite cheap to repair. However, the bigger they are, the easier they are to fly. This will fly like a trooper. I mean, this will quite happily loop, roll, it'll just soar. And when it comes to autos, it'll be nice because it's got the blades, it's got the span, it'll be really nice. And for me, what's quite nice is it's not flybarless. I've never flown a flybarless helicopter. I only fly flybars. But the gearing feels good. You might just hear a bit of that. I actually had one of these in an MD 500 Defender body, which is massive. So if you think it's big now, and I'm next to it, the MD 500 bodies are really big. The problem is with the MD 500 body, you have to take off the boom support. So you see here, the boom support comes all the way up to here. It helps keep the boom in place because this is all gear driven. There's no belt, it's all a drive shaft if you like, or a rotor shaft, geared at each end. Now the problem is, on the MD 500, little did I know, I learned, stay in your box, the tail can come disconnected and then only one thing will happen. It crashes. So yes, I did bend one or two. I have crashed a few model helicopters in my time, but it's part of learning to fly them. You do it at a club, you do it out of the way, where if it goes in, it doesn't matter. Okay, I have written off a couple. I had the misfortune to write off my Hangar Queen, as we call them in the old model flying. It was a Vibe, was it the JR Vibe 90 SG edition, and I wrote it off in style. I smashed the absolute crap out of it. It broke all the frames, everything. It was horrible. And how high was I flying when I crashed? About 1 foot off the ground. Yeah, I was being. I don't always fly very high, and I was flying too low. The long grass snagged the front of the Vibe, and she went in like that, and it just destroyed it. It literally just ripped it to bits. Poor baby. But anyway, so yeah, again, you know, you can check all your servos are working, all your linkages are good, all your control horns are nice and solid. Okay. The exhaust could do with a clean. Probably can't get it back to shiny, but it's a nice exhaust. All the linkages feel rock solid. It's not done a lot of flying, I don't think, this helicopter, you know. Whoever's had it hasn't done a lot. Gyro on the back end. It's got a CSM. Oh no, it's not. Yes, it is. It's a CSM 540. I'll have to dig out the internet instructions for that. But I have a sneaky feeling I have got a Futaba 401 in there, and I actually like the 401s, so I might put 401 on it. The only thing a 401 isn't very good at, it will let go if you do fast backwards flight. Right, you can't really see. Well, I'll just spin her around a bit. Hang on, what's that? There we go. Right, it's not really, it's a bit tricky. She's a bit big with the tail and the pitch slider, he says. You just got to be so careful of pitch sliders. Checking your linkages are really good. It'll probably, I don't want to strip it right down because it feels fairly, it feels good. Not too much play in there at all. I've got a little bit because you always get a little bit. Okay, yeah. Bearings are feeling smooth. The only thing that might be a pain in the ass is the dampeners. So in here, in the head, just here, you get what are called dampeners, and they're like rubber grommets, and they either allow the head to flex or not. Because this has been stood, because the guy who bought it up, I think he says he's not flown it in like 6 years or something, it could mean that those dampeners in here will need replacing. However, Bracty 60 parts are very rare. If I bend this, there is a good chance it will never fly again. So I'm going to have to be careful when I take her out. Yeah, but just check all your wiring. You can see it's all been protected back here, look. See, they've got cables where it's running through the framework. They've put proper protector here. It's coming off, look, the glue's just disconnected on the sticky pads. But you see where they're protected. They've even done the sensible thing where the servos come together. They've cable tied and looped through. We've got a battery checker here, but it's going to go on to 2S LiPo regulated power for the whole airframe. Okay, I'll be flying it manually. I'll fly it manually. It won't get any computer stabilisation at all. The only stabilisation on this helicopter will be that gyro. Okay, well there you go. That's That's a bit on drone maintenance with a helicopter as well. Okay? Right. I've just realised I'm now going to have to do this, aren't I? Take it out and fly it. Oh, crap. That's going to be fun. If you want to see a video of me trying to learn how to fly a helicopter, well, no, of me flying a helicopter once again, you're going to have to hit like, I think. But yeah. And by the way, if you want to know what this weighs, I forget, I think it's about four, maybe 5 kilos, maybe just shy of 5 kilos. Okay? But yeah, so that's the Raptor. Right, now, fixed wing maintenance. So here we have one of the levers. I have 2 of these. Okay, so maintenance on these. Now, as I build these, okay, my service period between them is, well, basically it's down to me. Okay, so I'm going to set it at 150 hours is my main service period. Okay, however, before every flight it will have its pre-flight, and depending how I've been flying it or where I've been flying it, it will have a mini service between. Okay, so what are we looking for on fixed wings? Now, on fixed wings, the bit that will start to get damaged the most on something like this will be the underside. So I'll just tilt it back gently. She lands on these pads. Okay, it's landing here. So this is what we're going to have to watch out for. Okay, we're looking for any kind of damage under here. Is the glue still holding together? That's the important question. Okay, if the glue's starting to go, we're going to have to check on it. Something to always keep an eye on. Okay, we're looking for any kind of leading edge wing damage. Okay, now this one is actually protected. You might be able to see it. There's a really bad job by me of ironing a layer of film. It's a bit like what am I thinking of? It's a bit like a laminate. It's really thin though for model aircraft. So a nice thin laminate that I've put over the wings. So when it hits like a tall grass, wheat or anything, it won't damage my leading edge very much. Okay, so you can take it. The main propellers, check they're always nice. Watch out, they will give you a paper cut on the trailing edge. They are razor sharp. Okay, the leading edge isn't much better either. That'll cut you as well. So just watch your fingers. Always have spare props with me. This is flying on 12x6 props. It runs on 6S powertrain. Okay, it is an orange. No, this one's a black cube in here. This is not an orange. This is a black. It can fly with 6S, so it flies on a 1200 milliamps. I've got 1600 milliamp, or you could put 22 in it. It will fly around 200 kilometers. Endurance. Okay, I'm not saying I chuck it and it flies to 100 kilometers and it comes back 100 kilometers. It could, but I don't do that. Just to be clear, it flies within the current regulations. So, I'm going to check everything, like the wing locking mechanisms are still there. Okay, so these are push button here and here, and the wing will, it says slide off. Ooh. It's really nice when it won't, because it means they're doing their job. Right, oh, there we go. Just check that the wing locking mechanism, obviously that one works, and then bring it back together. Clicked, check everything's working, both sides. Okay, checking for damage. Checking the surface controls, so on this side, he says, I'll just give a bit of a spin. Problem is, when you've got big models, you forget about the other end of the balloon thing. Right, I'll tilt it. There we go, babe. So here, I don't know if you can see that or not, let's tilt it around a bit more. We check that the control surface is all good, the servo's still mounted, no problems. Speed controller lives in here, okay, that'll last forever. Motors, their bearings in those, provided they don't get grit or shit in them, they should go for 500, 1,000 hours, and they're smooth, so as long as they're smooth and not making any noises, that's really good anyway. Happy there. Okay. Make sure the GPS plug is still connected. Check your wiring inside, check the flight controller is always still glued down. There she is. okay? And then finally, just check your V-tail is good, it still locks on, all good, making sure that the V-tail is good, everything's nice and solid, okay? There's a little bit of play there actually. Ooh, now look at that, that's handy we do maintenance, isn't it? I wouldn't have seen that if it wasn't for, well, that's interesting. I would never have seen that in a month of Sundays. And that's going to be a pig to fix. I don't know how I'm going to get in there to do that. That has broken. There you go, just doing a random bit of maintenance, look. You see that? That's gone. Something's broken there. How am I going to get in there to fix that? Because that is glued on. Oh, I see. There's an Allen driver there. So there's an Allen key there. I'll be able to slide it off. That, though, has broken. That push rod, and I don't know what's broken that or how. That's interesting. Let's look at the other one. That was impromptu, but well worth seeing. Let's just get that back on there. Are you going to go back on? Right, you can't fly for a bit anyway, babes. Just turn so much. Come on, there we go. That's that one on. Let's check the other one. It says, I can get it off. Doesn't feel damaged. Look at that. Right, so let's look at this one. Now this one is rock solid. This one has got no damage at all. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so I'm kind of happy. There's nothing wrong with this one at all. This one works, it's free moving, no problem at all. However, what's happened to the other one makes me go, what's happened? So I'm going to have to do a bit of checking now and see what's happened. Make sure the aileron control surfaces are still connected. Okay, these are foam hinged, but I used the laminate to create a second like hinge, if you like, you know, as a safety. It's also on the it's also on these ones as well. And that just broke. There we go, I broke it. I managed to break it. It's broken. That's big. Oh, I so look forward to fixing that. Right. Yeah. And actually fixed with maintenance. And do you know what? It's nice just to do a bit of impromptu maintenance because you never know. You never know what you're going to find. Okay? I'll probably have spotted it before I flew it next. But, yeah, I'll be damned. Got to find a servo horn that'll go in there now because that's not good at all. Looks like it's just brittle. It's just a clean break, absolutely perfectly clean. That would have been very nasty. Now if this had happened in the air, would you like to know what would happen? Nothing. Okay? If this had broken in the air, it would have snapped off, it would have come loose, right? There's not enough of anything there to jam, right? The aircraft would have flown still on the one V-tail. Okay? It would not have been pretty. Let me be clear, it would not have been a pretty flight. Okay? I probably would have had to fly it manually. The flight controller would probably deal with it. But yeah, you wouldn't get all your lift where you want it evenly, and it would cause the aircraft to bank. So as this one gives up, you get a bit of a bank. Then this control surface will then have to counter. Okay, and you'll end up with something where it'll climb. But you're on borrowed time. You know, a failure like that is not good. And it's not good on a kit this is not done that much flight time. So I need to now check the other one, make sure that they don't have a running fault, which could be interesting. Okay, but impromptu maintenance, it's not a bad thing, guys. Do it. Okay. Right, looks like I've got something else to fix then. It's a good job the weather's shit, isn't it? Right, that's fixed wing, basic and maintenance once-overs. Yeah, and I've given myself a job to do. It's a good job as well, rather now than, you know, you're rushing to use it. It's got no jobs planned at the minute, so that's good. Right, take care guys, safe flying. Remember, impromptu maintenance is not a bad thing, okay? Right, later. Have a good one.